Nightly Pulse, NBA news and highlights from February 5th. Get the latest NBA news and highlights, including real-time NBA trade deadline coverage with the Nightly Pulse. What's up, NBA fans? Welcome back to Nightly Pulse, where we break down all the latest news, scores, and highlights from around the league. Host name, and tonight we've got some major takeaways from the games, big-time performances, and even a blockbuster trade to talk about. So let's jump right into the action. Let's start with tonight's scores. The Spurs edged out the Hawks 126-125 in a thrilling finish, while the Cavaliers took down the Pistons 118-115 in a game that had us all on the edge of our seats. The Bucks cruised to a 112-102 victory over the Hornets, and the Grizzlies dominated the Raptors, 138-107. The Heat secured a 108-101 win over the 76ers. The Wizards beat the Nets 119-102, and the Timberwolves outpaced the Bulls 127-108. The Nuggets hammered the Pelicans 144-119, while the Jazz took down the Warriors 131-128 in a late-game comeback. And finally, the Thunder crushed the Suns 140-109, with a standout performance from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now let's get into the takeaways from tonight's games. First up, we've got some thrilling finishes. The early window was full of excitement, with wild endings in Atlanta and Detroit. Let's talk about that game in Atlanta. The Spurs and Hawks were tied at the end, and that's when Victor Wembanyama made his move. With less than 3 seconds left, Wembanyama smartly missed his second free throw to force the Hawks into a desperate full-court heave. It was a crafty move to secure the win. Meanwhile, in Cleveland, Darius Garland came up clutch in Donovan Mitchell's absence. With just seconds remaining, Garland drilled a deep three from the logo to seal the Cavs' win over the Pistons. That shot is definitely one for the Horry scale. It was cold-blooded. Now we've got to talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's been absolutely unstoppable. Tonight, he dropped 50 points on the Suns, his third 50-point game in the last 3 weeks. He fell just 4 points shy of his career high, but still a historic performance. SJ is quickly making his case for MVP this season. Big shout out to Anthony Edwards too, who put up 49 points for the Timberwolves in their win over the Bulls. Edwards is on fire, and now he's got 3 40-point games since the start of January. We also saw some notable debuts tonight. De'Aaron Fox made his debut for the Spurs after being traded, and he came out strong with 24 points and 13 assists in the win over the Hawks. Meanwhile, Zach LaVine debuted for the Kings, scoring 13 points in a loss to the Magic. It's just the start of these players finding their rhythm with their new teams. And of course we can't ignore the trade deadline madness. The NBA trade deadline is just around the corner and things are heating up. There's talk of a blockbuster trade with Jimmy Butler possibly heading to the Warriors. This could shake up the league, and we're sure more moves will follow in the coming days. Stay tuned, we'll have full coverage of that trade as it happens. Now let's take a quick look at the top NBA performers of the night. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's 50-point game for the Thunder was a huge highlight, but we can't forget about Anthony Edwards' 49 for the Timberwolves. And shout out to Onyeka Okongwu, who had a career-high 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists in the Hawks' loss to the Spurs. Alright, that wraps up our look at tonight's NBA action. Remember, the trade deadline is approaching fast, so stay tuned for updates as we keep track of all the moves. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more NBA coverage right here on Nightly Pulse. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.